Hi everyone, this is Jayce.
And I'm Yending.
Welcome to Freelance Creative Exchange, where every episode we speak to a freelancer about freelancing and the gig economy.
So today we're here with both Nicole and Judee.
Hello!
So first, Judee wears, some of you might know her, she wears multiple hats as an actress, director, writer and host. So yeah, plays a lot of roles, and she has been one of Singapore's funniest comedians for years. So you have seen her on TV. You've seen
For
her
years!
That's how we know your age.
No, still looks young. That's all that matters. And Nicole here is the CEO and co-founder of Fix Productions, production house that specialises in comedic digital content.
Yeah. So it looks like today's episode will be very fun.
The pressure on us, why don't you?
It's just both of you.
Can lah, we have the production crew laughing already. Okay. As long as somebody's laughing, that's okay.
It's okay, even if nobody's laughing, we are laughing at ourselves.
It's okay.
So that's fine.
We can insert some comedic laughter post-production.
Post-production?
Yeah, right. Okay, so very quickly, thank you so much, Nicole and Judee, for joining us on the show today.
Thank you for having us. Yeah.
You're welcome. So maybe you can just, maybe we start off with a short introduction about yourself, and then maybe you can share with us how do you start in the industry. Maybe Judee, you want to go first?
I suppose I always started
now you give her
from my route has been I have been a theatre actress first, so-called traditional theatre actress, and then one day I did this parody of the defamed, dethroned, I don't know if you still remember her, Riz Low,
Yeah.
the beauty queen. It's they cannot speak English properly.
Is this Singaporean?
It's Singaporean. She's speaking English.
What's her name? I need to write it down. I need to know who this is.
It's like, Riz, R-I-S.
Is that how she talks? Riz?
Yeah, she kind of talks like Riz. So then I did a parody on her on stage.
And she got
So,
really
yeah.
famous.
And then I think that's when the people on Channel 5, the Noose at that time when they were still on, they said, they needed another girl because, they needed, just more actors.
characters and everything.
Yeah, more actors, more characters. So they said, go on to the news, and then on the news, then it was Kim Bong-cha from North Korea, which is now cannot do anymore. After the Kim Bong-cha, and then I also have this other character called Dr. Teo Chew Moi, and she's playing now. Actually, this is the character that I'm gonna play later at the Dream Academy's 4th installment of Happy Ever Laughter, the stand-up comedy show. So yeah, that's kind of how the route is. Don't know how, but life just boom. Like that.
Dumps it on you.
Yeah.
Whether you want it or not, you dumps it on you.
It's like, okay, you want funny? Alright, I'll give you funny.
This is what I can do.
Yeah.
But it seems like Singapore audience generally like more funny stuff and things like that, right? Would you say that?
I suppose because we're so stressed. And the world is getting, quite
More stressful.
Yeah. In a way, isn't that even with YouTube, which is what you do, the comedic content, and that's what I think people just want that. Just want to be able to have that release.
Yeah.
How do you feel, and how you got to do
So I
Thanks
was
for being the host.
So I was a producer after university. I was 22 and I moved back. I was deciding between Singapore and Indonesia. I grew up in Indonesia, so I decided to go back to Indonesia. It was the first job that I got offered, and I was working as a producer for Indonesian soap operas. Like the really zoom in, zoom out sort of thing. And then in 2015, I approached my now partner, who was also a producer, to create a YouTube channel because I think that was when YouTube was sort of having, as these YouTubers that you have now. It was sort of developing them, but we wanted to make some quality content, right? So we did a few things for some clients first. So we actually made the first few projects that we did were for Gojek. I don't know if you guys have heard of Gojek.
I have heard of Gojek.
Who are now coming to Singapore. And for Happy Fresh, who also just joined with Grab. So we were doing that to make some capital, and in 2016 we started the channel, and we just reached 100K a few days ago. And like you said, one of the reasons that we chose comedy, in the beginning I wanted to make something like these
Meaningful.
I
know what you mean.
I was a really big fan of Wong Fu Productions and Jubilee. And I wanted, as a girl, to make something, like that a woman would be able to relate to. And my partners were like, what, comedy is going to be easier to sell, which is true. It's what's happened now. And now I kind of forgot about the romantic shit. So And
let's revisit it one day.
Yeah,
This woman thing. Okay, the four of
but
us.
that's the thing.
here.
I think I was wrong.
Romantic
I mean, a
comedy.
lot of romantic. I think that's. I don't know about that.
I mean, like, the whole women. I think we've got a
Women's channel.
I mean, the majority of our demographic and our viewers are male actually now.
Oh, okay.
I think a lot of our content, a lot of
appeals
to the male audience, and a lot of women appeal to like this sort of, what sort of pulls at their heart or whatever. But I don't think that comedy, as a result, you can also see that it doesn't not appeal to women. There are funny women in the industry.
There are.
I don't think it's so much. I'm not sure whether Indonesia has that trend, but for past campaigns that we have run for our clients, we always see that in Indonesia it has a lot of views, but it's generally majority of them are males.
Yes. Yeah.
Is it the excess though? Is it an Indonesia thing? Do you mean
Might
like in
be.
terms of culture?
Yeah, I think it's also the growth of mobile penetration in Indonesia.
Yeah.
as well,
Yes.
because by size, they are just one of the largest, around the region.
Yes.
So in that sense, when mobile penetration picks up, so that's where a lot of people actually started to access digital, right? So there was a study that I came across once, right? That actually a lot of the people in Southeast Asia, like Vietnam, Indonesia, they didn't realize Facebook is actually is actually a website, right? To them, it's part of the phone.
Yes.
Right? So to them, it's like a messaging.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like Microsoft as
It's
a
like
computer.
correct,
Yeah.
exactly.
You don't know anything else.
So it's just I guess it's probably just due to the growth of mobile penetration.
And in Singapore, so like the viewership, or do you all know like it's all kind of equal in between the both?
Male
or female?
It's more balanced. Males
Right.
just sort of have a bit more, just a bit more, but it's really more balanced.
Right.
But Indonesia is always this huge.
Then I guess
gap.
It's a huge gap.
accessibility.
It depends on what they. I think it's also just the education, right? I mean,
Exactly,
education level in Singapore is much higher than it is in Indonesia.
And
Indonesia
women
is,
as well just
is the
go-
fourth largest country in the world, and I think not the majority, the masses don't get the education that they need, so they don't know actually exactly what you said. They think that Facebook is part of the phone.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I mean, YouTube is a growing market definitely in Indonesia. There are so many YouTubers in Indonesia, and anybody can be a part of it. And now they're doing this whole. That's another thing. I was gonna say the TikTok thing. Have you guys heard of that?
No, what's that?
Is that not big here?
Yeah.
It's just like so big in Indonesia.
I mean the when they video
Yes.
themselves, I did it once.
Oh no! I absolutely.
China, right?
I don't know where it's
a
from,
China app,
but
I
they're
think
so
so.
good at connecting influencers with their brand. So all these little kids are doing it, and I'm just like, I just want to smack.
Yeah.
I'm a bit like that as well. When I see like people younger, I'm not sure. Judee, do you feel like that?
Oh no! Why you must rope me into this sentiment?
Yeah, it's like when you see the younger ones,
And then they're
going
doing
and you're
stuff.
like, yeah, and you maybe you start to think like, was I ever that annoying?
Yeah, I always think that way. I was watching this kid. She must have been 8, and she was just like taking, and then she was asking her mom to take like a selfie of her, and I was like,
Oh dear.
oh my god, play outside.
That's their world now.
It is the world. It is the world. And I think as entertainers or freelancers, I suppose we have to keep up with the trend, whether we like it or not. I think.
Yeah, I think that's very true. But coming back to the freelancing industries, right? So Judee, you have been a freelancer for a couple of years
10
now.
10 years,
Yeah.
about
So
here and there.
compare, back when you first started to now, what's the difference in the industry that you see in Singapore?
Or even like you jumped from theatre, which was live, to
TV
and I mean, you're still in theatre and on the stage a lot.
Yeah.
Do you see a difference between any of this?
I mean, in terms of performing, the modes are so different. So yes, there's always the adjusting. I always want to say I'm most comfortable in the theatre, because that was what I studied in uni as well. Anyway, it was through that practice, and also because my love for theatre is because you do a lot of research. You because you have that time to do it.
Yeah.
You really do all of that before you put it out there. So you have that. Well, it's a privilege and a luxury to be able to do that. Whereas for TV, it's kind of like you kind of just have to be there and there. Did I just say be there and there? Yeah, be there and there. And
Do you mean that?
be there, not here. Okay, so yeah, you just have to like sometimes you have to wing it. You kind of have to wing it. I mean, it's very hard to. I feel like I have to write a whole essay about this. It's like
It's
if I
the
have to
other
tell
way
the
around a
differences.
lot of times.
Oh, do some people think it's the other way around?
Like, theatre on stage is where you
You
sort
can't
of-
wing it, but if anything fails, you do have to improvise.
Yeah.
So you have to be live.
But you're saying like once you get into a project, you get to focus on that project.
Yeah,
a lot.
because because the theatre making process is so long, you cannot not.
Whereas TV must be
Yeah.
very fast paced.
Yeah, TV is so much faster
I
that
see.
everything you do is there, and you guys get to do a lot of post prod. So once your post prod is on stage,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
theatre.
Yeah, correct.
So
Everything is live.
it's there.
Yeah.
So I mean, I enjoy that, but then having done TV a few years, I also enjoy, but it's a different kind of enjoyment. I kind of enjoy the just kicking it live on
Yeah.
with the crew as well, and then like just kind of like improvise on there as well. So that's fun. But in terms of the market, I think as we were sharing just now, I think now with the whole digital media coming out. Everything has changed in just so rapidly in the past just
Yeah.
2-3 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
How has it affected?
Because I was
theatre?
just all broadcast,
Right.
normal, yeah.
Right.
So theatre as well. Well, now you see that we have to reach out to people through social media, which is such a weird thing.
Yeah, I'm sure that it is.
It's also an age thing, right?
I think
So,
because theater has also been such an old art.
yeah.
Whereas when you have to connect it with something so new as social media,
yeah, so we're like-
it seems like it should not match, but it's like you have to do it.
We have to,
Yeah.
and even for like when I talk about the age thing, well, I guess not just. I'm sure a lot of other people my age can relate, which is that you now have to connect with people not with the traditional forms of whatever it was,
Yeah.
But now I have to connect with my fans through,
And it's the only way.
yeah,
It's the only
through
way.
a medium that I was never familiar with.
Yes.
I
Right.
don't even know how to work a PowerPoint, and then now I have to do Instagram.
Was that difficult to pick up? By the way?
It was. But then again, it's so easy. It's actually so easy. But they have everyone else has made it so much harder because now they know the algorithm thing, and then all the other content creators on Instagram now know how to how best to get views or blah blah blah.
Yeah,
There's an
right.
art to it
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
There's a
yeah.
whole industry to it now. Yeah,
It seems
so-
like there's like a secret formula that only those few know.
or like they've been working at it. It becomes like a full time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you do it as a part-time thing, you're like, what? And just post something.
Yeah.
Hope for the best.
Hope for the best. Well, I hope this gets out.
But you must be really good because like you do digital content.
I mean, I think first of all, you definitely have to know your market, right?
Okay.
We're
That's
living and working
tip
in
number one.
Indonesia for a long time now. I think if you asked me to do what I do in Indonesia in Singapore, I wouldn't be able to do it. It would have to take me a few months to learn what the market is like here. Secondly, our brand, I think. If we, for example, have a client-based project, we'll try to figure out who their demographic is first, and then see through that, okay, this is probably the best way to connect to your demographic. But for the channel, for our own channel, Fixed Productions, in the beginning, I think my partners and I were very like, oh, is this going to work? Is this going to work? And we were trying to see what was trending on YouTube and things. And then after about a year or so I think it took about a year or maybe like 8 months for us to really be comfortable in what we were doing.
Right.
And just being consistent with it. So, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to stick to sketches and sort of these, taste test sort of things. And that was basically what got us noticed. So I think it's not whether or not you can be consistent. I think everybody has like their own style of doing it. But I think if you're consistent with what you're doing, people will notice you eventually.
But do you guys decide on that direction because you guys were receiving the feedback like, oh, this are getting
Like
more
the
views?
comments?
Right.
Yeah, or was it more of like, I like doing this a bit more?
I think it was both. In the beginning, I was very conscious about the comments. I would go through each one, and I'm like, I have two other partners, but we sort of gave each other positions. Like they nominated me as CEO just because I was a girl, and they were like, "Oh, I think you're gonna be more organized in this." And I was like, "Okay, they're two guys." I would go. I would like. In the middle of the night, I would go through all the comments and I'd like message, my other partner, and I'd be like, "Oh my god, did you read this?" And he's like, "Dude,
Don't worry about
just chill. Like, no one's gonna care. We don't even know who they are. Do they know the production about like the production that you do? And he was completely right. Like, you know, if we're gonna get into this sort of industry, it's exactly like you would put a movie up or a TV. Like, people are going to comment and people are going to disagree with your style.
Yeah.
But as long as you're okay with it and as long as you think something works, and we have the credentials for it, so why not?
I'm gonna say actually that would be tip number 2.
Yeah.
Like for any of such as a freelancer, or I mean as a creator,
As a creator, as someone in the entertainment industry, I'd say.
What you gotta be assured about, you know, if it's gonna be a 50% is what your audience feel, and you have to have that 50%, 100% in you. Yeah, you cannot really kind of like worry so much.
Now I only go through the comments when I've had a drink. And I'm a little
Or
bit,
that.
when I'm a
Tip
little
number 3.
when I'm a little bit tipsy and I'm like, I feel like you know, commenting back and be like, thanks guys. And if someone makes a bad comment, I'll be like, well then don't watch my channel.
But I'm just wondering, is are Indonesian audience much more critical compared to Singaporean audience?
No. I think that
Korean audience.
I think that every country or every market is going to be different, and I think everybody's now. Where did I read this? I think it was Tony Blair actually, who was in Singapore, and he was doing something on Channel News Asia, and he was saying that, you know, we're in the age of social media where it's the age of the loudmouth, and everybody's going to have an opinion, and everybody's going to want to say something, and I don't think whether or not, you know, Singaporeans are going to say something and Indonesians are going to say that. There may be more educated comments from Singapore, I'd say. But, you know, people behind the camera, people watching from a screen are not going to know the process that you went through to shoot that. And for example, like the process you went through to make up a sketch or something, or if something that you did on stage, the process you went to prepare yourself. So if you don't know, and if you're not part of the industry, then you can say whatever you want, but I'm probably not going to listen to you.
But I think that's the challenge that you guys, as I guess, in a sense, performers, you know, where you guys are in front of the camera.
Exactly.
You know, you guys have that challenge whereas a lot of creators, other creators, be it freelancers or, you know, in-house creators, a lot of times they're behind the camera. You don't even see them. You know, you don't see Carl and Raven behind there right now. But you guys have to face it. So even if, you know, you have 10 people behind the camera,
but
the
they
responsibility a lot
it's
of times,
on the face. It's on the people who appear. There is that pressure, let me tell you that.
I mean, you must feel it much more than I've ever done, so.
There is that. Sometimes it gets a bit tiring, it does. But you have to build resilience.
I think especially for an actress.
Yeah,
for someone who you have to be
you
on
have
camera.
to. There's no other way of doing
Exactly.
it. Yeah. So you kind of have to build the resilience, and also you have to build this discernment. You have to really know who you're listening to, what your gut feeling tells you.
Yeah, of course.
All that. So you have to. So in a way, it's a good process. It's a good journey because in some ways you either completely lose yourself and refine, which, and in some ways I'm doing that now.
Okay.
In all my 10 years, I've had to do a bit of. Going under the wave and like what's going on, and then okay, I think so, and then you think that you're getting there.
Yeah, it's a lot of ups and downs, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I mean,
of that.
you maybe for someone to have to be on camera, that's actually your profession. For me, whenever I don't want to be on camera, I'm like, okay, you do it. Like you just go. Like, I don't have to do it.
I want to learn how to do this.
I'm a producer. I don't have to be on camera if I don't want to be on camera.
I want to learn how to be a producer.
You can, man. If you're, I think.
But you can just go more to a writer, director persona.
I could.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah. Now with SkillsFuture, you can do a lot. But anyway, but just, you know, going back to your question about high and low, right? How do you actually manage? Because as a freelancer as well, and I'm sure, Nicole, you know, when you run your company, there's definitely low points and there's definitely very high points, right? So would you mind sharing with us some of your lowest point and how do you actually overcome those challenges and get yourself out of it again, right? I think that's the resilience that a lot of Singaporeans are looking at.
You have to think about it.
Like erase the smiles from
At that point, actually, I mean, I won't say when, just because I don't want to get into that thing, because convoluted.
Sure.
But when it happened, at that point in time, I had a few projects lined up, so I had to just kind of like cut off a bit of connection to myself and just power through. No, I don't recommend it. That's a long-term kind of solution. But sometimes, human beings we are so resilient. We human nature is like that. And I'm gonna talk like an artist right now. When you see the concrete slabs on the ground, and then you see this one little flower. We are like that, right, girls?
How poetic.
I know,
How
right?
poetic. How poetic. We just met, guys.
But I am always. I have that sort of sensibility that sometimes as a comedian or as just someone in this modern society that I cannot really always talk about or reveal. But I am not afraid or shy to share it. That there is that sensibility, which makes me sensitive to my work, which is why when I write or create characters, people have told me that, how come your characters are so real? Then I'm like, well, you gotta get there. So when I am sometimes really, really down, the same thing that helps me create, the same thing helps me understand that, hey, this is a bad moment. It feels really utterly bad, and I have had super tragic points, but I go for that point. Like I will look for those beautiful moments. Yeah, like that little plant or all those pictures of cats giving each other massages, or or like little puppies getting saved,
or babies coming together.
And remind you that the whole spectrum of life is not just that. And then so that's hopefully then we will keep going and going. And if you feel that this is really your calling in life, not like calling, but just a calling, like everyone, has a way to express themselves. So if this is your way, you're bound to have all these, right? So you just try to get over slowly.
I did hear once though that comedians, it was from a comedian himself, and it was comedians are one of the most tragic people. And that is what makes them very funny a lot of times. A lot of times it's just finding that very black humor. Is being able to find that funny part.
I mean, if you actually hear a stand-up, all they're really doing is complaining. But in a funny way. They're sort of just doing it in a funny way, and people just find it funny.
And like sort of dig a hole that no one else dares to dig.
Exactly. A lot of comedians are really offensive. But I think that's what's so funny, because they're going to be daring enough to say whatever they want to say.
And then the audience that buy the tickets to come there and watch, you think, what's wrong with you?
Why are you sitting here?
You feel that sometimes on stage then.
And they love it when you heckle them. They love it. They're like, do it to me. Do it to me.
Oh my God.
She picked me. but it's like, we understand it because we are all human beings, but someone's going to be the one talking, someone's going to be the one listening, but it's actually everyone connecting on the same thing. So you understand, we're not really abusing you. We're sharing something.
How about yourself, Nicole? Do you ever have a lowest point in time?
I think when
Have you reached there yet?
Definitely
It has been high all the way, right?
When we first started out, definitely, because you could call us a startup, basically, right? We didn't have, I still don't pay myself salary. We have a very small team, and my partners, we don't pay ourselves salary. So there was a point in the beginning when, of course, money definitely was an issue, and we never. The YouTubing thing is such a gamble, right? You're either going to make it or you don't. Someone has to notice you eventually, and it's such a large sea of people, and you have to basically really find your target audience, and then they're just going to share you by word of mouth or whatever. So definitely there was, in the first few months when we were just trying to figure out how to be a company and trying to rake up clients, because although we are a company, we a lot of the money that we make is off freelancing. So we find clients who want to make videos, or now we make a lot of our money through endorsements, products that come into the video. And obviously in the beginning, no products are going to be like, oh, you have 5,000 subscribers, I don't care about you guys. But now it's a little bit easier. Obviously people know who we are. We get a lot more people. I mean, my partner has people buying him bottles in clubs now. They're like, oh, we really like your content. So I think it definitely in the beginning it was a lot of me calling up Putra in the middle of the night being like, oh, we're never gonna make it. I don't know why we started this. I should have just stayed in TV. I don't know what I'm doing. But now I think it's definitely paid off. It really is such a I even get so what's the word, a little bit emotional, I guess, when someone, there are times when I'm in the bathroom and there are girls who stop me and they're like, oh, you're that girl from Fix Productions. And I'm like, stop it. Because it was a lot of hard work that we went through. But so there definitely have been some low points.
But I think it's always good, right? Because of all the hard work, passions, and effort that you put in, and then now today you have reached this. I think it's actually a cause for celebrations, right? Even small success should celebrate along.
I mean, we reached 100,000 not even like a week ago, and Putra and I went to we got really drunk.
I was gonna say more bottle.
More bottle. No, it was basically like him coming to my apartment and us like finishing a bottle of whiskey.
The idea about being a freelancer is that I think what's important is for each artist to retain their individual style, flavor, whatever it is, yet at the same time be protected, in their work environment, which is everything else. Yeah. So if there was an agency or if there was just a collective or something, I suppose they call it union somewhere else, but which is that protects everyone, but each individual person can still have their own development, their own artistic process.
Yeah.
So
I think that's the ideal situation, right? And I think Singapore is moving towards that direction. But of course, I think freelancing is something that has just started quite recently, right? In Singapore and as well as in Asia.
I mean, maybe it's acknowledged recently.
It's actually
So-
been there.
Yeah,
It's
it's
actually
only
been
acknowledged.
there.
I would agree.
Yeah, so we can't compare to ourselves with those in the US or even in Europe, right? Where they are so much more advanced in terms of the protection of freelancers,
Yes.
in terms of the acknowledgement of self-employed
Yeah,
and things
yeah,
like that. Yeah, but because of the different government agencies coming together, I think right now people are more aware, both on the freelancer side as well as an employer side, right? So they know there's this resources that's available out there that they can actually tap on to actually grow the company. So I see that's a good thing.
I must plug MP Bayam King. He's been trying to
Actually, there has been a few MPs who is very supportive along the way, trying to push this ahead. But of course,
We'll find out soon.
I'll share his Instagram. Please let me, I need to learn about Singapore more.
One of the reason really behind this podcast was also one such reason, right? Because one of the things that we wanted to do is also to promote awareness. Because a lot of times, I think freelancers being a self-employed person, you should, to a certain extent, responsible for some of the actions, right? Because you chose this career,
Of course,
right?
yeah.
So
Of
you
course.
should actually be prepared to take the good and the bad of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So whatever it is, if we can, come together as a collective, or as a group, and then we can grow the industry together, I think that is the best way forward for everybody. Yeah. I think one thing that the freelancers pool that we deal with right now, right, is quite, I would say, diverse. So we have those, young, millennium, fresh out of school, but who has a lot of passion, motivations, and aspiration to do the things that they want to do. But on the other hand, we have a lot of very experienced, industry veteran who are still freelancing now. So I feel that now we are at a point where this two group of people are meeting in the workforce now. Right? So then the challenge is how
What's the
correct.
common
How are they
language?
going to come and work together, right? And as a team, right? Because media is all about collaborative effort.
Yeah,
So-
that's creative work.
Exactly, and how the more industry veteran who are so used to the traditional way of doing things, like yourself, right? I mean, you come from the TV industry, Nicole comes from the TV industries, right? How do you learn about YouTube, right? How do you know about the taste of the audiences on the digital platform? So all this, I think, the freelancers need to actually take some time to look at this, right? Actually, talking about that, so when you first moved from a TV industry to setting out your own business, to setting out this YouTube channel, what was some of the motivation behind this shift?
I think because I had been working in television for so long, I was working for a large network, one of the largest networks in Indonesia, and then I moved on to as a director of content for another network. In between, I was actually freelancing as a producer for films. The reason I decided to do this was because I had been working for people, and I wanted to basically work for myself. And I wanted to basically work on my schedule and to figure out, I realized that in the TV industry, and as well as the partner that I have now, that TV in Indonesia is very old-fashioned. What works and what sells on TV in Indonesia is a lot of the soap operas that we would not probably watch, right? But that's what the masses like. I think the production house that I was working for before tried to make something that was a little bit more wow, and it didn't do well on the network. I think because they don't want to, the masses don't like to watch something that has to make them think. And I think I was a little bit tired of doing that. So the YouTube industry was obviously growing within America and in Europe. And I asked my now partner if he wanted to do this with me. He was also doing television. And the transition was different, but it's not as different as TV in the sense of the technicalities of it. I think that the content is what you put out there, because a lot of the things on YouTube now may be more censored than they used to be, but you can obviously put more things on YouTube. For example, a lot of our content has a lot of alcohol and swearing. We have a lot of swearing. And I mean, not we don't condone it or anything. It's sort of the brand and the character that we bring in. And actually, that has brought on a lot of brands. Alcohol brands have come to us to advertise, because a lot of other YouTubers don't do that. And a lot of Indonesians don't tend to drink on television. Like, obviously the same here as well. Like, smoking is not allowed on television as well, right? So, on YouTube you have the freedom to basically do what you want. The only thing that we've ever been flagged on YouTube is music.
Oh, music.
Royalty. In the beginning, nobody cared about the music that we put on there, but now that we have 100,000 subscribers, people are like YouTube is flagging us down.
Are you making money off me?
Exactly. So that's something we have to be careful about. But other than that, we've never really been flagged for anything, which I think that's probably the only thing. But in terms of the technicalities of the operations, and I think that's the good thing and how we've sort of kept going, is because my partner and I come from a production background. And we know what it's like. We've worked the 24-hour shifts. We've done the weekends and everything, like not gone home and slept on location and everything. So it's not really that hard, as long as you put something worthwhile for someone to watch out there.
That's right. But I think I like the point where in terms of digital, what you said, you can do anything you want, basically. There are no rules. People try to say that there are rules, but that
there are some, but now there's so many more platforms out there than YouTube, and we're trying to expand a lot of our content to other platforms. YouTube is obviously the bigger one. And it's just easier to give someone this is my YouTube link, here, watch this.
I go on YouTube all the time. There's something that they're familiar with.
Hearing Nicole talk about her journey, I kind of feel like for you and your business partner, I think the advantage that you guys have is that you have gone through that whole slogging in the traditional, so you were able to kind of face the challenges of this new little baby that you had. I was just thinking, like, if you got if it was, I don't know, some millennials who had no work experience and just gone out there and wanted you
gotta tell me about it. We hire them now.
Good. It's about hiring freelancers. Let's talk about this.
But it's about managing expectations.
It is the worst, isn't it? Oh no, please don't tell me. We just hired like a few interns and so it's just like, oh my god.
It's about work experience, I think, right? Like whether they didn't they don't have that before, and they think like, why are you asking me to do this?
And then look at her face. It's the attitude a lot of times.
The interns that I just hired are called Gen Z.
Right? Oh, I see. Okay.
I don't know the names. Okay.
Basically, but never worked before.
The ones that are younger than me. Let's just say that. Okay. But we have definitely hired a few people, because we like to hire younger kids, right? The kids that you think that you can mold, and who obviously this contributes to the content that we put out, because we want to know what's trending.
Exactly.
And we definitely had circumstances where they've asked for more money, and I'm like, what? Like, how much money I was making when I was at your age, and I was working more hours than you were. So it's definitely it's something that I don't think that. Sure, I think we can complain about it, but I think at the most, if you're going to complain about it, try your best. If you have someone under you that's younger and doesn't understand that, to just teach it. If they don't want to learn, then all right, I don't got to see you anymore. It's fine. So, but it is part of the education for sure. I mean,
you want to mold them, that's one thing, but how receptive are they to being molded?
Some are definitely not. We've had a few people just like leave. They're like, you know what, I'm tired, and I'm like, all right, bye. But it's the ones that want to stick it out with you. The editor that we have right now has been with us for 2 years now, and he's grown He's really grown a lot, and now we've sort of moved him up as head of production, and he's willing to learn. And I'm really proud of him in that sense. But there's only a few that are going to be that humble, that are willing to be like, to accept when they've done something wrong, and vice versa. It's a two-way street. If I've done something wrong, I'm sure that he would want to tell me. I don't want it to be like an authoritarian thing either, where I'm like, you have to listen to what I say. So it really depends on the person as well. It's part of their personality. If there are definitely people who are like, I don't want to listen to. I don't think you're right. I'm gonna go work for a bigger industry or company or whatever, and I'm like, all right, go ahead, see how they treat you there.
And having to work with a lot of different teams as well. I'm sure, Judee, you've met, I mean, I won't say younger people, but just people who won't communicate as easily.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an actress, so I'm like, in terms of the hierarchy, so you're kind of like the actress is the last bit of it. Everybody else is. It's like that. I mean, I've been a producer before also, so I mean, producer is like the top. Then the actors are like, so how do I say? I have had both experience of like, and it's not a matter of age. It's more of a personality. I mean, that is my experience. I mean, I've had people so-called my age who have walked out on me, like the crucial moments. You're like,
Age is definitely not a thing, actually. I really don't. I mean, obviously, respect. I think we're Asian in that sense. Like, you respect your elders, but age should not be a thing.
Yeah,
I don't think age should be a thing.
So it's sometimes really, I mean, you never know what someone's going through or whatever, but definitely, conflict at work, stuff like that. I think it's got to do with personality.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just a person's morals and how they were, what they think is right or wrong. That's about it.
And if in terms of age, now I would say it's a matter of like, if they're older, they probably have more experience. So you can count on that. So if a younger one, so I mean, you're kind of like losing. If you're young and you don't have experience, you got to learn. You got to have learning attitude.
Of course. And
But-
be willing to accept it.
and be willing to accept. But if you're older and you have more experience, you also need to like be a bit humble and be able to meet people at their level. In this creative industry, I think we're all, I for me, my experience like that, always meeting people who are coming in different entry points. Everyone is a different entry point. The cameraman, I've seen before. I don't know where. Well, maybe the lighting guy is super like 30, 40 years.
So true. So true.
Everyone is it. Then you're like,
Whenever we hire people for projects, like we outsource a lot of our crew members, and sometimes I'll just hire my camera guy and he'll be like, okay, I need 3 other guys, and I'm like, okay, and then on the day of the shooting, I'm like, hey, I've hired you before. So it's totally right. You meet people
everywhere,
like so randomly, and I'm like, I haven't seen you in years or whatever. And I think that's the same in any sort of entertainment industry.
So in Indonesia, is freelancing also a very common thing, or actually?
I think in production. In production, it is freelancing. Like, I would say in the creative industry, it definitely is. It's still a developing country, so I don't think that people support it or the government supports it as much as we would like to. But like you said, like, it's been around forever. And I think that,
free market.
It's a free market. And I think that it's very common within the creative industry. But I mean, in other industries, I'm not really sure, but definitely in the production industry, yes.
How about in theatre? So Judee, you have been in theatre for so long. Do you see the
been
growth
still
in people
unfamiliar.
choosing freelance as a career, or actually, a lot more people are actually waiting to be hired in that sense?
Wow. From what I hear, I think there are. Well, now we have LaSalle, NAFA, and we even have SOTA.
Yeah.
And then in my position, I'm thinking, what are you going to do when you graduate? I came from the time where there was no such kind of like school. There was only LaSalle, right? And then LaSalle kind of like disappeared for a while. There was a time LaSalle disappeared for a while. Then I'm like, oh, okay. And a lot of my own classmates, not everyone chose the performing route, even though we had studied. Some of them, a lot of them became lawyers.
Really?
Really? A lot.
Lawyers?
I wanted to be a lawyer.
Entertainment
No,
lawyer,
not entertainment. I wanted to be a lawyer.
I guess because you can act like you can be like like a lawyer. That's crazy. What a crazy jump.
So how do you get into
How did I get?
creative arts then?
How up?
You're like, I wanting to be a lawyer, and then suddenly I went to theatre school.
Oh yeah, so I was in VJ, and that was when I thought, okay, since I got into, one of the top colleges. I would then go to university and then, get a law degree, blah, blah, blah. But I was so disillusioned when I was in JC with, for some reason, life just happened that way. So disillusioned with the whole education system. And then I didn't do well. Just don't do well, You're not going to get a law degree. And then
Naturally.
Yeah, naturally you felt, just and then I it's really a series of events. I don't know even how it happened. So I always say this is something when I went to LA for a music voice. I'm a singer as well. So so I went for this vocal course. Oh, thank you. Vocal kind of like summer camp. And then there was this guy who was the musical director of, at that time, Wicked in LA.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So he says this thing, again, I'm going to get into quite philosophical mode. Bear with me.
It's the artiste in you.
Yes, it is. So he says, when you choose or be chosen, something like that, you don't choose it chooses you. Yeah? Yeah. So I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
And
But Nicole, did you choose and I know you said at that time you started working in the TV production and
I
everything.
think I wanted to go to Berkeley in the music school as a singer. And I did not like it.
Oh no!
I think honestly that industry is super competitive to be an actress and a singer and everything.
Yeah.
I think, and I'm just not a competitive person as nature. I'm not.
Isn't it just tiring just thinking
I'm
about
sure
it?
that it is. And I went into broadcast and I actually wanted to be a reporter, a journalist.
Oh,
I had that too. I think with people.
I think it's probably, I think we tend to change our interests. And then I think what happened was because the first offer that I had gotten was from Indonesia. Obviously, my Indonesian as a journalist, I don't speak formal Indonesian. I speak very slang Indonesian. I think if I had come back to Singapore first and tried to be a journalist here, I may have succeeded. But I don't think I would have changed that. Because I think to be a journalist and to be someone on camera, actress, singer, dancer, whatever, performer, I think you really have to compete. And I think I would have been so tired. And to try, even let's say a journalist, you really have to be on your stuff. You have to know all the stories. You have to speak eloquently and be on camera and whatever. And I think I would have just been like, no. So the first job that I got was assistant producer for the soap opera stuff.
Oh, right.
And then I just went from there. And sometimes it's fun, if people need someone to be on camera, it's fun to be like, hey. But I think it's really tiring, and you really have to want to be a performer and an entertainer and really like people and be because a lot of people are going to come up to you and be like, oh my God, I love your work, blah, blah, blah. And sometimes you just don't want to talk to them. So I think it's a lot of work. I think some people underestimate actresses and actors and performers and think, wow, it must be really easy to be a model or it must be really easy to be something. But
Thanks.
I think I think all jobs have their perks.
Yeah.
And I think
also the other side of it. Right?
whatever you decide to do, that's what you have decided to do, and everything will have pros and cons.
Of all the experiences that we've talked about, right? Having been through what you've been through, what is looking back now?
Oh wow.
At your younger self.
Looking
you
back,
know,
wow.
looking back. What would you say to yourself? Maybe this is sometime where you were just starting out, or maybe even when you were, in school. This is something that you want to tell yourself.
Yeah. So this is actually a question that we ask every guest who come to our
It's very
podcast.
deep.
Yeah. So
Here, another chance for your artiste to come out. Is it really nerve-wracking?
It's just wow, I've
never thought about it.
maybe because at this point I'm still trying to figure out what I should tell myself now.
Oh.
I'm still at that process, I'm still at the because when I started I didn't think a thing. I didn't have to think about anything because I was just young and reckless and just did anything I felt like doing.
Yeah.
I've come to a point where, and women get there, I think not yet. And maybe not for every woman, but I have come to a point where I'm starting to feel the pressures of being a woman in society. But things that I don't have to think about, you know. And then I'm at that age, I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm not yet married, then like no kids. Well, I didn't have to
still
think
trying to figure out, right?
Is it because people start asking you?
That's what I mean.
I want you to know that I might look young. A lot of people think I'm like younger than my age, but I'm also in the same boat as you right now.
So no, it gets there.
Oh,
and you're
definitely.
Like, and like
the body thing, definitely.
yeah,
I'm telling you, man.
the shape. Just
What did I tell you about the sugars? It's because of that. It's because of that.
Black coffee people.
Dude, then me now, do I think I want to tell my 10-year ago or 20-year ago self that, hey, you got to start preparing, you know, for this kind of future that's coming. You got to buy an insurance plan. You know? You got to make sure you got all this, you know. Blah, 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 blah. What if, one day,
Basically,
blah,
just
blah,
your
blah.
mother.
Yeah. But then, but I also don't want, because she has so much fun. She has so much fun. Just, and then now, I don't know. So this is my open-ended answer.
You got really nervous there. Like, I don't know what to say to myself.
This is like my open-ended answer, but it's also like I'm at this stage where, and I suppose I would like to share my anxieties with all the other women out there. It's also at this age, where are we in society as women? Why do we need to go through all these things? These are questions I think about, and I kind of feel like, can we answer them, please? I would love to hear. I would love to have someone. You know?
Have you spoke about this to
No.
your close friends? And so this is really the first time that we prompted
By the
you.
way,
This is not a conversation. It's a hey, you know what? It's also hard to, because it's not something that is out there in the media. What the media is selling us now, and then with the advent and the insurgence of this digital media, everything out there is like, beauty, young,
But is it because
and then I'm like, oh, where am I going with this?
But is it because you guys are in front of the camera again a lot of times? So that's a you are sometimes, okay, but maybe you feel it more because you are more percentage of your career.
I suppose because it's all. I know that they have they need to have a type or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
And I think it's also because of the nature of what you're doing. So you tend to be a bit more sensitive.
Yeah,
like, to
'cause
a
I
lot of
can- I
things.
know,
Yeah,
like,
correct. So
what-
you react to it.
Yeah.
You know, quite
perhaps
consistently.
And
in that
also,
sense.
definitely that. So I'm not sure what I would say, okay lah, you know what, this is what I would say. Good job.
you had fun. Let me take care of the rest.
Yeah, now let me, okay. At least you have fun.
How about yourself, Nicole?
Yeah.
Like I said, I think sort of in the same boat. I'm also been thinking about a lot of those things where I'm also not married. I'm turning 30 in a week. So that's a big thing for me. And my mom is very Asian and very like, where are my grandchildren sort of thing. And it's not something, like you said, it's not something that I ever thought about. It's not, I mean, I did think about it, of course, and I'm sure like any man or woman, you have certain goals for yourself when you reach 30. It's not a woman thing as only. But,
But they were not pressing, right?
yeah, it was not something that I really thought about. I do see the changes in the body. It's annoying me. I used to like eat McDonald's every night, but now I can't. But I think what I would say was I would tell myself to take more chances. I think now that I just was focusing so much on certain things, or how do I make more money, or how do I do this, or how to succeed. But now I think when you reach a certain age, I don't think I could do the things I can do when you're 22.
Yeah.
For example, you can't just take that internship in a different country anymore because you need to make more money for yourself at a certain age.
And you can't do the 24-hour overnight.
No,
Not
that's
in
for
the
sure.
same way,
I used to be able to drink
Yeah,
all night
exactly.
and go to work at
The
8
next- yeah.
and still feel completely fine. And
Yeah.
now I can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding, Mom. So yeah,
Theoretically.
that's probably what I would tell myself if my just graduated university self. Take more chances.
Oh, yeah.
Don't stick to just like, the first job that I took, I was there for almost 6 years.
Yeah.
So I think it was just because, like, am I gonna find another job? Is someone gonna hire me outside of Indonesia? Because everything that I know is here. So that's probably what I would tell myself. Because I probably can't do all the things that I wanted to do now that I'm reaching 30. Or I can, but
Take more.
I want more money. So like,
Yeah.
I gotta
Different priority in life.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
expensive, yeah.
Yeah.
And do it while you still can. kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
definitely.
Yeah, and be more positive as well. I guess, yeah. So when you reach this age, you're happier. Well, but thank you so much for the
Oh,
time.
thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for
Nicole and
having
Judee.
us.
Yeah.
Thank you, ladies.
So thank you for tuning in to another episode for Freelance Creative Exchange.
Subscribe to iTunes and Spotify and leave us a review.
Good review.
Well, they can leave a bad one if they want, but I'm not going to care about
Yeah,
it.
we'll just drink. We'll
We'll just drink. It's fine.
Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave a comment because we want to hear what you think. Let us know the questions or the freelancer you want to hear from.
Follow us. Follow these guys at CreativesAtWork on Facebook and Instagram.
Mine is at Judee Tan, JUDEETAN. And yours, please?
At Fix Productions.
So join us the next time for a brand new episode starring, we don't know who yet, there'll be a surprise.
Until then, bye-bye and have an awesome week. Thank you very, very much.
Thanks, Judee and Nicole as well.
Thank you.